Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where you could have at least said thank you, this is Ballot.
That's right, and we might even rename the show to MS Ballot, because that's not stupid at all. Let's hit this. I'm Patrick Gutfield, and President Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House yesterday, and this time, nobody got yelled at in the Oval Office. Progress. The whole European gang showed up too. Basically, everyone except the Pope, and honestly, he was probably busy. Now, you'll remember back in February, Trump and Vice President Vance had what diplomats call a frank exchange of views with Zelensky, which is diplomatic speak for they yelled at him for a really long time. This time, Trump was all smiles and charm, telling everyone that peace is within reach. He even floated the idea of a trilateral meeting with himself, Zelensky, and Putin. Zelensky called his conversation with Trump really good, which, considering their February meeting, probably felt like being invited to a birthday party after getting detention. But here's the thing. Nobody actually said how they're going to achieve peace. The Europeans want to give Ukraine Article 5-like security guarantees, which sounds impressive until you realize nobody knows what that means. What's an Article 5-like guarantee? That's like saying you're marriage-like committed to someone. Either you're in or you're not. The European leaders basically showed up as Zelensky's backup dancers, determined not to let Trump throw Ukraine under the bus again. Before the Alaska meeting with Putin, Trump wanted a quick ceasefire but to set up bigger peace talks. After Alaska, he seemed to shift toward Putin's preference for jumping straight to a full settlement. Putin loves this idea because Russia's winning on the battlefield right now, and he doesn't want Ukraine getting a timeout to regroup. While the Europeans view Putin with the trust level usually reserved for a used car salesman who is asking you to look out the 7th-story window, Trump vouched for the Russian leader's peaceful intentions. He told Zelensky, "I think you'll see that President Putin really would like to do something else." Then later he doubled down. "I think President Putin wants to find an answer too." Now, Putin wanting to find an answer could mean a lot of things. Maybe he wants to find peace. Maybe he wants to find Ukraine's surrender document. The interpretation really depends on your level of optimism. Or maybe he's going to release the Epstein files because whatever you think of Putin, he's not a coward. Trump cold-called Norway's finance minister last month while the guy was just walking down the street in Oslo to ask about getting nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. According to Norwegian press, Trump called out of the blue and told Jens Stoltenberg he wanted the Nobel Prize and to discuss tariffs. So Trump is now making unsolicited international phone calls about Nobel Prizes. Picture this. You're the Norwegian finance minister. You're walking down the street, minding your own business, and suddenly your phone rings. "Hello, this is Donald Trump. I'd like the Nobel Peace Prize, please. Also, let's talk tariffs." The report says this wasn't even the first time Trump has brought up the Nobel Prize with Stoltenberg. So this is apparently a recurring conversation topic. "Hey, Jens, it's Donald again. Still no word on that Nobel thing? Also, how are those fjords looking?" Stoltenberg, who's the former NATO Secretary General, diplomatically said the call focused on tariffs and economic cooperation ahead of Trump's official call with Norway's Prime Minister. Translation: Yes, he asked about the Nobel Prize again, but we also talked about real business. The Norwegian Nobel Committee reviews hundreds of candidates each year before choosing winners. They probably weren't expecting direct lobbying calls from former presidents who are now presidents again. "Hello, Nobel Committee. This is Donald Trump. I'm calling about your Nobel Prize situation. Here's my solution. You can have a peace prize if, and only if, you release the Epstein files. Would you like some multiple sclerosis with your news? MSNBC is getting a name change, and honestly, it's about as dramatic as a corporate breakup gets. The network will now be called My Source for News, Opinion, and the World, or MS Now for short. Yes, that's a real name that real adults came up with in real meetings. This whole thing is happening because NBC Universal is spinning off most of its cable networks into a new company called Versant, which sounds like either a pharmaceutical company or the kind of consulting firm that charges $200 an hour to tell you things you already know. Here's the deal. MSNBC wanted to keep its name, but NBC said, actually, we're keeping our peacock logo and you can't use it anymore. which is the corporate equivalent of your ex saying you can't keep the Netflix password. Mark Lazarus, who's going to run Versant, sent a memo explaining that the Peacock is staying with NBC Universal. He spun it as an opportunity to chart our own path forward. You know how when you get dumped and you tell everyone it's actually better this way? That's what this is. USA Network and Golf Channel are also getting makeovers under something called USA Sports, which I guess is better than the COVID Channel or Measles Plus. And there's potential confusion with NBC News Now, which is NBC's streaming service. So now we'll have MS Now and NBC News Now, which sounds like a pharmaceutical commercial where they have to list all the side effects really fast. Rachel Maddow pointed out that MS Now has fewer syllables than MSNBC, from 5 to 3. That's what we call finding the bright side. Look, our corporate divorce may be messy, but at least our new name is more efficient. Portions of today's program were made with the help of AI, MSAI, and MSAI Now. Release the Epstein files, you coward!
What if the biggest threat to the royal family is the royal family? I'm Mark Francis, host of Palace Intrigue, the daily podcast that goes behind the palace gates and straight into the headlines. Right now, we're digging into Entitled, the bombshell new book that claims Prince Andrew's ties to Jeffrey Epstein run deeper than ever imagined, with espionage, secret deals, and even possibly a Trump massage list. New episodes every day. Follow Palace Intrigue wherever you get your podcasts.
From the creators of Palace Intrigue, a new chapter in royal history begins. William and Kate's wedding captures the world's attention, but royal life isn't as perfect as it seems. Tensions rise as Harry meets Meghan, sparking a divide that will shake the monarchy to its core. From explosive interviews to family scandals, the royal family faces its most public challenges ever. As King Charles takes the throne, the future of the monarchy hangs in the balance. Family secrets, royal rifts, and the future of the crown. Crown and Controversy, wherever you get your podcasts.
From Calaroga Shark Media comes Celebrity Trials, the explosive new podcast that exposes the truth behind America's most captivating cases. I'm Reed Carter, and I'll take you inside real live daily trials and classic celebrity cases where fame, power, and justice collide. From Jeffrey Epstein's billion-dollar sex trafficking empire to the prep school killer who walked free, from family annihilators to celebrity plea deals. Discover the shocking verdicts, twisted evidence, and cultural forces that shape American justice. These aren't just crimes, they're cultural moments that reveal who we really are. Justice isn't always swift, but it's absolutely riveting. Celebrity Trials, available wherever you get your podcasts.